My toxic in-laws always cause drama, so I cut them off.
Cut it out.
Snip, snip. Let me preface this by saying this isn't just about my mother-in-law, but my husband's whole family. How such a wonderful and kind man came from this insanity is beyond me. My husband, who we will call Daniel, 26 male, and I, 26 female, have been married for almost 7 years. We have 3 beautiful children and a happy life together, but our history is straight out of a telenovela. By the way, this comes from user reasonablecancel37 on the r/OK storytime subreddit. So, see, my husband and I met in high school. We are both members of the Latter-day Saints church, so we come from similar religious backgrounds. My mother-in-law never liked me. From the moment we met, I had an intense desire to be friends with Daniel's family, and I was always met with disdain. I spent a huge chunk of our 7 years married, plus 6 years dating, trying to get on the good side of my in-laws, and most recently, I have drawn a line. In the beginning of 2024, on my youngest daughter's first birthday, to be precise, we were evicted by our landlord. Long story short, there was a difference in the definition of up to health code when he tried to raise our rent, and he took it upon himself to kick us out because of our picky nature and the mold and roaches. About the mold and roaches. In this moment of panic and in need of help to get everything out in our allotted 3 days, I called upon my in-laws and my family to see if we could get some help. My mother-in-law offered to watch the kids while my father-in-law offered to come help. Now, to understand this next part, you need to understand that my husband and I are avid gamers.
Understood.
Ooh, they are. Ooh, it is game time.
Game time.
We play video games together as a family with my brothers and with friends from around the world that we met on the game and that we've come to know as family. This is a big no-no in Daniel's family. So to teach us a lesson about all these video games, my father-in-law came to help, but decided to sit on his phone the whole time. I later learned that he even told Daniel's siblings not to come help. He was trying to show us that video games waste time, but what he did was hurt us in a time that we had no time to be taught lessons. We spent the whole day doing everything ourselves. My family didn't come and my friends were busy since it was such short notice. The only time my father-in-law got off his phone was when I asked him to drive my kids to his house so mother-in-law could watch them. But here's the kicker. He only got off his phone to start the car. Continuing to play his phone, he not only did not listen when I said these are my precious babies in the car, 1 year, 3 year, and 4 years, he also ran a red light that could have unalived the entire car. Wow. Well, I don't know. I think they're saying that he continued to be distracted on his phone while driving.
But maybe I misunderstood that. Are they saying that he did this to teach them a lesson, or is that a separate?
I think so.
That's insane.
Which is...
He's like, I'm going to put my life and your children's life at risk to teach you a lesson. You're welcome.
Yeah.
This is called active teaching.
The neurons fire in their own special ways over at the LDS church. Not gonna, just, hey, everybody has their own thing. I don't want to upset the Mormons. I grew up with a lot of Mormons, and the vast majority of them are no longer affiliated with the church because it was ruining their lives actively. So I don't know. But I still love you just the way you are, regardless.
I love you.
Anyway, when I confronted him about it, he told me that he was just showing me how video games are a waste of time. But you weren't even there. All you were doing was endangering the children. I never, in any of my years of playing games, have touched my phone while driving, nor have I treated someone else as if they weren't important. I dropped everything when my mother-in-law was having seizures and stayed with them for 3 weeks without games. So you would think they would see that my life isn't just me being stuck to a screen. But whatever. Later that day, after we had gotten everybody settled and everything out of our house, it was 2 bedrooms, and my husband and I were working through the frustration. My brother-in-law decided to step in to speak with Daniel. We thought it was going to be fine, but no. Daniel's brother is 17 and a senior in high school. He decided that we needed to know that Daniel's decision to not serve a religious mission and attend a college and instead get married and enter the workforce immediately was the worst decision of his life. Yeah, they're not pushy. I've never known any pushiness to be going on.
Ugh.
Except they can get a little pushy.
That's really
Yeah,
frustrating.
man.
That's really frustrating.
I feel
No, you can have like any religious belief that you hold on your own is completely valid, but to extend it to guilt other people that's not acceptable.
I feel like it's like similar to the Catholicism. There's
It is.
a heavy guilt angle in
Yeah.
the Mormon church where it's like,
And it's like you
Yeah.
got to make sure like your religion it should be about your experience and your relationship to your religion rather than enforcing it on forcing it on other people.
Indeed. Now, I've been told many times that I'm the biggest mistake he's ever made. This doesn't necessarily bother me anymore.
I'm just like, I've heard it so many times,
Yeah.
it just slides off the old back.
Yeah, I'm just like a duck at this point. I just let it roll on over. This doesn't necessarily bother me anymore. It's when my mother-in-law and father-in-law stepped in to let us know that he's right. They asked Daniel, what about those other, more appropriate girls you were dating before you got married? And this has thrown me through a loop. I was outraged. I let them know that this is not the time nor the setting to have a conversation about our marriage and our decisions. Daniel and I make enough to pay for our family and the things we need, but because we were just evicted and had nowhere to go right away, we instead let them have their words with us and accepted their offer to let us stay there for a while. Was this the best decision? No. But it was the only option we had. We found a little apartment to rent inside our budget, but it wouldn't be available for a few months. In order to save money, we decided to bite the bullet and take the kindness that was given to us and stay where our kids would be fed and safe. And we would just get by on each other's love and God, but we didn't realize just how hard the bullet was that we were about to be chomping on.
Yeah.
It can be hard,
Yeah.
especially when you already know
when you have to rely on
they
other
actively
people.
are like,
Yeah.
you're a mistake.
It's just really hard when you have to rely on other people who you know are going to use that against you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's no arguing against it. They're just like, nope, you're wrong.
Yeah,
No,
and
you're
like,
wrong, see?
Okay. And you need them at this moment
Yeah.
for, a place to stay. and stuff.
100%. The next several weeks were met with very, very many issues. First off, we were willing to give up our video games while we were there since my in-laws had views that they were satanic and, hey, their house, their rules. This isn't a huge issue as we saw them as a hobby and not as a necessity. It would have been a non-issue if they didn't let their son, 17, and their daughter, 13, stay up all night playing video games. Now what are we doing? What are we doing here?
Wait.
What's going on?
Wait.
How is this happening?
So this whole time they've been like, you guys can't play video games because they're terrible, blah, 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 blah. But now they are letting someone else play video games?
Yeah. In their more formative years as well. It's like,
I don't get that.
if we're going to have principles, why don't we stick to them?
I don't get that. And also I don't understand their like ire towards OP when OP's also a part of the church. They're both a part of the church. Because usually it's like, oh, that person's not a part of the church. Can't believe you would leave the church for blah, blah, blah. But it's like, no, they're both a part of the church. Everyone's in the church. What's the issue here?
Yeah, I don't know. It's, maybe it's like we raise different generations differently. Secondly, my in-laws are huge into religion. We are churchgoers, but we're not going to say you're going to heck because you believe something different or you live something different. However, Daniel's parents are aggressive.
That is clear.
Yeah. If you missed even one Sunday at church for every reason, you need to repent. As we tried to live peacefully throughout the next few months, we did everything Daniel's parents asked. It was when I started to see more hypocrisy happening that things circled the drain. My husband is known as the geek of the family, and this makes him the black sheep. Everyone else is what could be known as popular. They're having parties constantly. His parents cared when Daniel did something like stay out too late, but when it comes to his siblings, they're very out and open about sneaking out of the house to drive to another state and to make out with a girl, or stealing donuts from Krispy Kreme dumpsters to throw at cars driving down the highway and trying to hotwire people's cars. Okay.
So they're having fun? You're getting mad at them for having fun?
Ooh,
Jesus.
Yeah. Oh, it's just throwing debris onto the highway. No big deal. So these are real things that Daniel's siblings have done that nobody cared about. I try to raise my kids as normal and polite, so I tried to keep them away from the stories that got told and passed off as fine. Daniel's little sister had friends over pretty often. Now remember, she's 13. She would be watching scary movies all the time, with my in-laws being super religious and judgy at any game they thought was inappropriate. I thought it was pretty weird for her to be allowed to do that. So whenever she did this, I took my kids to the park or to a friend's house. I didn't want them having nightmares. One day, my mother-in-law asked me where I was going. I simply explained that because there was a horror movie playing in the room where my kids' toys were, and I didn't want them getting upset because they wanted to spend time in that room, I was just going to go take them to play at the park. Is The Unborn an unsuitable movie for your children?
We're just watching The Fly.
Honestly, that's The
Great
Fly.
movie.
So good. I was trying to come up with one that one, just seeing the trailer for that movie scared me
I've seen
when I was a kid.
It's a good
I
movie.
never did watch it.
Well,
And it was really, I was scarred by that trailer.
My last year of college, I watched Earth Girls Are Easy and fell in love with now I'm blanking. Jurassic Park, what's his name?
Sam Neill?
No.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yes. I fell in love with Jeff Goldblum.
As anyone should, honestly.
Incredibly attractive in Earth Girls Are Easy.
Oh, he was a looker.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In his day.
And then I watched The Fly, and it was a little bit disappointing to watch him turn from hot to The Fly.
Hot Jeff Goldblum.
But anyway, that's a side note.
Did you just spoil The Fly? Oh, no. You guys only had, what, did that come out in like the 70s?
Yeah.
You've only had 50 years to watch it, guys.
Yeah, come on.
Mother-in-law asked why. I told her that my view is that it's not my job to judge what she allows her kids to watch, but I don't want my kids seeing that stuff until they're old enough to be able to handle it and handle the thoughts and feelings that they would get from it. She went ballistic. My daughter is not watching a scary movie. She would never, and she always tells me what she's watching. And when Daniel's sister even said she was watching an R-rated movie about the Antichrist, mother-in-law still didn't believe it and said I was being ridiculous for taking my kids out of the house.
Okay, so she's just like letting her kids watch whatever and not checking in on them?
So I just imagine them standing in like the front of the house, like the foyer, and in the living room there's just like a loud horror movie playing, and she's going, my daughter would never listen to watch a horror movie. And then you just hear,
no, don't unalive me. And she's like, it's not a horror movie.
Just the wet crunch
it's a documentary
of organs and bones being removed from a human body.
It's a cooking show.
And it's like, that's clearly a beef Wellington being prepared.
It's the Great British Bake Off.
That's all it is. So from there, it did not get any better as mother-in-law began to attack our parenting. My husband removing my son from the room while my daughter got dressed made him physically abusive. All he did was pick him up and walk out of the room. My kids going into the kitchen to get cereal in the morning instead of asking for me to help made me neglectful. I genuinely can't watch them if I'm not woken up when they get up. But this is where I drew the line and where my am I the a-hole question comes in. My daughter has been working on going potty for a year. Seriously, a year. We've been slowly getting it, but she's stubborn, and the eviction kind of messed it up and reverted back to just diapers for a while because hard times can do that. We've been patient, and I've been doing a lot of reading and researching on how to help her feel comfortable for this. I read that letting her go around in a diaper and not worry about her pants and shirt can really help. So I did that. She was in a diaper. We also incentivized big girl panties and getting rid of baby diapers for good. Do you want to be a baby forever? No. Let's go be a big girl and go potty. Right. Like you're trying to teach a kid how to not poop in their pants anymore.
Takes a minute.
It's a trick.
Some kids take longer, and that's okay.
As far as I know, this is normal. But her being in a diaper in the summertime inside the house is incredibly abusive. And when my back was turned, my mother-in-law put one of her shirts on my daughter. This thing was huge and even more in the way than her own pants would be. So when I saw it, I was like, hey, can you not do that? I'm trying to help her potty train and be a big girl so she's not a baby. This set mother-in-law off. She is not a baby. She's a toddler.
Kind of the point OP was making.
Yeah. Well, yes. We know that, but my daughter is still only 3, and she needs a clear distinction between baby and big girl to help her potty. Withholding clothing from a child is abusive. I'm not withholding clothing. I'm just helping her with the initial step of recognizing that she needs to potty, and only having one thing to remove could be helpful for her. This is my house, and I will tell you when I see that you are being a bad parent and these are my grandbabies. What have you done to my son to make him agree to be abusive and treat his children in this way? This was the final straw. I told her this, quote, I genuinely don't care who you are or who you think you are to my children. If you do not start to respect my husband and me as people and as the parents of our 3 children, I will take our kids and I will walk out that door and we will never return. And she said, fine, go. And we did.
Woo!
Boom.
Mic drop.
Look at that. Hey,
Love
it's
that.
the consequences of your actions.
Of your
And now we're
actions.
gone.
Boo-hoo.
And we're gone. This was the last time we saw any of his family back in March. She didn't think we were serious. She's shown up at my mom's house, who sent her away because my mom took my side, and she has texted my husband. She even texted me out of nowhere calling me a rat, which is fine. I'm a happy little rat who's living without the intense drama and stress of my husband's family.
Woo!
Two
Happy
little-
little rat.
2 little happy rats in their little
Playing
nests.
video games.
Just going, ooh, can't wait to play the new game.
It's a good life.
New game. Never mind. I was moving on. I have told my husband that I will never stop him if he wants to see his family, but I will not be joining him. My kids can join if he wants, but I strongly suggest no for now. My husband has taken my side and has made that abundantly clear.
Good.
And I want to make it abundantly clear that you can get as many stories as you want that are just like this one. All you have to do is look up OK Storytime on Spotify or Apple Podcasts,
or wherever you watch your
wherever
podcasts.
you get
Listen
your
to them.
podcast on. That's where we're at.
Woo!
And there is a little bit left of this story.
Let's do it.
I've always been a people pleaser. I've always wanted the approval of my in-laws because I thought that it would make our family stronger and better if we all got along. Am I the a-hole to them for cutting them off?
No.
Am I the a-hole to myself for giving up on my dream of a many-generational happy family? Or should I even be feeling guilty? There was so much that I didn't even include in here, and so much that I felt like I was within my right to stand up for myself and my husband, but I feel like cutting them off has made a rift in the family and it makes me feel guilty. Should I try again later down the road? They've treated me like this for 13 years now. I'm always the one who apologizes and takes the blame. I think 13 years is enough.
That's enough. You are not at fault. You were not the one who broke this dream of having a multi-generational family or happy family. They did.
Correct.
And you are giving the proper punishment for their behavior, which is not seeing them. If they're going to continue to act like that, then they don't deserve to be in your presence or in your children's lives. So if they want to come back around and be like, oh, I'm so sorry for our behavior and apologize and make amends, then they can do that. But till that point, you have done nothing wrong.
Yeah.